Welcome back to another High School Principal Reacts. This is going to be a fun one. Today I'm going to be reacting to scenes from Captain Underpants, the movie. Now, granted, obviously, this is going to be a little more geared toward the elementary school arena, but I'm still looking forward to it. Haven't seen the whole film start to finish, but I'm looking forward to this one. Surprisingly, a lot to unpack here. Let's get into it.
It's so good. We should have done an origin issue ages ago.
Yeah, like first.
I'm not sure about the dolphins though.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if it was the thing where it was like good weird or bad weird. Like, is it something like the origin issue?
I've told you 1,000 times not to draw these idiotic comics.
Freeze! Hey everybody!
Yeah, so the premise of this movie, we'll see as kind of as we go along, but these kids have this comic called Captain Underpants, and we'll see later in the movie that the principal here, this is the principal, Mr. Krupp, he's a little bit extreme to say the least, but we'll see kernels of truth to the classroom as we go through it. But here, I've never known anybody to go around ripping up comic books like this, but let's see what he does next.
And this old guy looking angry right here? Well, this is the worst principal in the world, Mr. Krupp.
Mean old Mr. Krupp hates anything fun, like comic books, recess, Christmas, even kittens.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh. I don't know if students really have this image of the principal. I do know a few people that are kind of harsh in just in the way that they deal with people. At the end of the day, if you're a principal of a school, whether it's elementary or middle or high, you've got to deal with people. And so you have to, yes, you have to be firm at times. You have to make tough decisions, but you're dealing with people and you have to, behave that way and treat them with respect.
In my office now.
Hope dies here.
What is happening right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, love this image of the principal's office. Not really based in reality, and it's kind of unfortunate. Some people will get this impression. Matter of fact, if I need to see a student and I know I just need to ask them something, I will have the teacher say, hey, tell this person they're not in any trouble, because just merely being, called to the office for some students is, they're dreading it and they're giving themselves virtually an anxiety attack just thinking about, okay, what have I done wrong? But the reality is it's not always that, but this is kind of taking that impression to the real extreme with the little, I saw the poster that said authority and had a big foot stepping on an ant. Not really realistic. At least I hope not.
Let's try and leave and see what happens.
Wow, that's an expensive door.
It was a choice between the magnetic automatic door closer and the music and arts programs. Pretty sure I made it.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, but true. I've heard of many schools that have cut their arts programs or other programs that they deem non-essential. I'm actually a former music teacher myself, and the arts program at any school, no matter how small, is in my view a vital part of it and should not be taken away. But there are a lot of schools where that gets stripped away, or if there is a tough decision to be made, and you do have those. Obviously you're dealing with a limited amount of funding, but certainly, hopefully you wouldn't be doing that in order to fund this crazy security door that Mr. Krupp has here in his office.
This morning's school sign is supposed to read, "Sewage plant field trips are today." So can either of you explain why it now reads, "Come see my hairy arm"? I know you two are responsible.
How? How do you know? Do you have any proof? I mean, this is a country of laws.
The proof is here, inside my gut.
He must have a lot of proof in there.
Quiet, quiet.
Yeah, that's funny. His proof's in his gut, and he must have a lot of proof in there, since his gut is so big. Yeah, there's some truth there. I mean, anything, if you're the principal and you're having to investigate something, you do have to kind of be able to prove it or have evidence. You can't go off your gut. There's a lot of times where, you may feel that, this particular person did something and you want justice, but, you have to be able to prove it. So he is right there. He's not wrong.
Disrupting the carefully calibrated drone-like beehive that this elementary school is supposed to be. I may not be able to prove it yet. I'm gonna get you two one day. One day. Very, very soon.
All right.
Yeah, once again, you do need proof of some sort. I think in a bit he's going to get that evidence he's looking for. But yeah, you do have to be able to prove any kind of allegations like that. That's true.
Right, fair enough.
Get out of my office. No!
See what we're up against?
Look at the nameplates here, George and Harold. You have like looks like those memorials that you'll see on chairs and other furnitures in memory of this person, but it's reserved for George and reserved for Harold. I'll admit I have had students in the past where I felt like there almost needed to be a permanent nameplate on the chair in the office because they were there so often. So there's a kernel of truth there. They have their own little nameplates because they're there in the principal's office so often.
Listen up. Quick announcement. Our science teacher, Mr. Fide, is no longer with us.
He's dead?
What? No, not like that. He wanted to spend Saturday with his family. So I fired him. I'll find a replacement next week. Anyway, on to Melvin's.
Yeah, that's a little harsh. So I'm guessing the science teacher, I mean, it is true if you're a teacher or a sponsor of some activity like the invention convention. I've never heard of that, but I'm gathering some sort of science related activity and he's the science teacher sponsoring it. Yeah, he should be there. Him just firing him like that is not realistic. If you're a teacher, typically you get a year-long contract and you can, teachers can be fired, but it has to be for cause. And that's going to be a lot more substantial than, failing to attend this particular event here, this invention convention. So that's not realistic. And he just casually says, I'll get a replacement next week. Also not realistic. Hiring a teacher is typically not nearly that quick. So yeah, Mr. Krupp's not doing so well here with his human resources management.
Project I asked him to come up with myself.
I call him the Tattle Turtle 200. On the outside, he resembles a turtle, but on the inside, oh, look at this. It's a nanny cam.
Hidden camera.
Oh, Melvin, how fun. Let's see what it recorded.
Yeah, and on this subject, you can't go around having hidden cameras, obviously, if you're a student. I have had students, unfortunately, many times before in the past come to me with various items on their phone saying, hey, look at what this person said, look at what this person did, and you do have to investigate those. But hidden camera like this within a turtle or whatever this is, no, you wouldn't have that.
Screwdriver.
Okay, there's the evidence.
Is this 2-ply or 1-ply?
We're so guilty.
Yep. So there's Mr. Krupp's evidence. Yeah, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, you probably shouldn't say, "Oh, we're so guilty," while you're doing it. Not such a great idea.
I told you I would get you one day, and that day I was talking about is this day. Today. This is the day.
Are you gonna tell our parents?
No, your parents are obviously total failures. I have a much more
He would absolutely tell their parents. There's not very many situations at all where you, as even a teacher or assistant principal, or certainly the principal, would not call the parents. You would absolutely call the parents every time. And I don't know, I don't agree with Principal Krupp here. He's going to some great lengths to kind of catch the students in something, kind of like I talked about in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off video. No principal would really want to see students get in trouble like this. Granted, you want to hold them accountable, but you wouldn't, really take pleasure in this. You just wouldn't.
Effective punishment in mind. Because I'm going to have you two placed in separate classes. I'm going to annihilate your friendship.
What? No.
Yeah, so he's going way too far here. That's not to say that you would never change, the classes of a student for some serious problem, but it's going to be for something much more extreme, and it's usually going to be at the request of one of the parties. Like the parent is saying, this problem has gone, this whatever it is, has gone on and on and on, and would like to request a different class, and you would only really do that in an extreme scenario. Certainly not to punish two students. That's not a consequence you should be giving out. But yeah, I have seen that used as more of a solution to a deeper problem, but never as a punishment. They're trying to steal the turtle back and get the footage.
Hello. If you would like the chance to win $1 billion,
Please hold for one of our representatives.
So they con her into getting distracted with this contest, which is fake. But I've never seen a school secretary do this. This would be a pretty bad use of school resources and their own time. I've never seen this done. They're searching for the camera.
It's gotta be in here somewhere.
You see that? It said the rest of the entire school was in one drawer, and just George and Harold were in the other drawer. Now, there is a shred of truth to that. I will say, you may have little files on specific students if there's anything different or unusual about the situation, or if a particular student has a long history or a lot of documentation associated with them, you might have a file like that, but not like two students in an entire drawer and the entire rest of the school in another drawer. You just wouldn't see that. That's pretty funny.
Whoa.
What?
Everything Krupp ever confiscated from us.
Look at all that.
Yeah, and this is pretty accurate as well. They found a drawer that has every single item that the principal in this case has ever confiscated from them. You do kind of rack up a variety of items that are taken away, and typically you would just, certain items you would, give to the police depending on what it is, but other items that are not allowed at school, you would just tuck away for a while until you're able to dispose of it or throw it away, depending on what it is. So yeah, this is pretty accurate. Most administrators I've known have had some kind of drawer like this that they keep this stuff in until they can get rid of it.
Kind of hoping that we appeal to a slightly cooler demographic.
Well, if it isn't George Beard and Harold
They got
Hutchins,
caught.
to what do I owe the pleasure? Is it perhaps this? Nice.
He had it.
Turtle and I have grown quite attached. We're inseparable, actually. I carry him wherever I go, including the shower.
No, you would never take home anything that you had confiscated, even if it was to hide it from a student. The students in reality would not have access to this principal's office. They just wouldn't. So there'd be no need to take it home. You would certainly never take home anything you had confiscated.
With that thing pointing at me, it's not making me sleep. I'm not gonna get sleepy for. What kind of plastic hokum is this?
All right, so this is kind of the premise of the movie, if you're not familiar with it. So up until now, Principal Krupp is just Principal Krupp. but he somehow uses this little plastic ring to hypnotize him and make him Captain Underpants, which is just this crazy guy who wears underpants, and that's kind of where the name of the movie comes from, and the comic that they draw of him is where the idea comes from. Wow. So I've never seen that kind of interest. Very cool for them to have that same song from the Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie, particularly in an elementary school. I don't know where they're how they're coordinating this with the boombox and the clothes and everything like that. That'd be pretty interesting even for high school, but for an elementary school, that would be really over the top.
Captain Underpants, get out here.
Sidekicks, are you sure my secret identity requires these restricting, uncomfortable clothes?
So he's Captain Underpants, but they're having him pretend to be Principal Krupp, and he's like, "Why do I have to wear these clothes around?"
Yes, positive.
100% positive. Now act like a principal.
Oh, right. How does a principal act?
Mean.
Okay. I'm a principal.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Come on, we're almost there.
So he's like, how, what am I supposed to do? Act like a principal. How does a principal act? Mean. He doesn't even, he's not even harsh with people. He just goes, like he's scaring somebody from around the corner or something. That's great.
Anyway, I am here to interview for the science teacher position.
I don't know if you caught it. The job ad there for the science teacher was like one of those little rip off things where you rip off the phone number, whatever. I see like guitar lessons and stuff like that. You rip off the phone number so you can dial it. Hopefully, this particular school district's HR system is a bit more sophisticated than that. I don't know if they're going around posting these in the park or whatever, that they need a science teacher. Hopefully they do a little bit more thorough job than that, but let's see.
Perfect. I'm disguised as an elementary school principal. Oh, guys, I totally got this. Don't worry one bit.
He's going to interview
Where
him.
did I put that resume? No, not that. Oh, this thing. Ooh, this one's fun. Heads up. That one's going to leave a mark. And look at that. Oh, not that. Aha, here we go.
Well, I guess at least he had it in the end. I've had a lot of teacher applicants say, well, I didn't bring a resume, but none that took the battle axe or lit dynamite or poison. Never seen that personally in an interview. Let's see what happens next.
Says here you're a science teacher,
Not exactly.
but you have teaching experience.
Oh, no, I can't say that I do.
Not even like babysitting?
I would never sit on a baby.
Camp counselor.
I never was a camp counselor, although I did receive counseling for some trauma I experienced as a child.
I'm getting a really good vibe about you.
So, yeah, obviously you would want somebody with teaching experience, ideally. Granted, you do have to start somewhere. We do have new teachers that obviously they wouldn't have any experience or just their student teaching experience from when they were in college. He mentions the babysitting, but he also mentions camp counselor. There are honestly a lot of other types of experiences that would be important to mention in an interview, particularly if you haven't taught before. And actually any scenario where you're successfully kind of mentoring children that are kind of the same age as your students would be looked at as a plus.
Honestly, kids are so understanding, so innocent. Their smiles brighten my heart and fill me with a joy-adjacent feeling. As long as they are controlled and do not laugh, nor smile, nor play, nor laugh. Children must never laugh.
Well, you seem terrific. You're hired.
The honest truth is I have encountered a few teachers that um, have this kind of attitude, oh yeah, I love children, but as long as they're quiet and as long as they don't bother me at all, and as long as they, never, ever, ever misbehave, which if you've taught in a school for longer than 2 seconds, students are going to misbehave. You have to know how to deal with that and how to engage them in a way that's going to cause them to be more interested in your class, interested in what's going on, learning their interests. But I have had a few people that have a similar attitude to this gentleman here, not liking not liking children very much, which I don't know how you're going to teach if that's the case.
What? Excellent. Oh, by the way, going to need Fridays off and every other Tuesday through Thursday for my evil experiments. Hope that's not a problem. Okay, bye-bye.
There's a little nugget of truth here too. I have had a few people in my past, you have a great interview, you end up hiring this person, and then they immediately say, oh, I need a bunch of days off. Of course, they didn't mention that in the interview, but they immediately, start taking a lot of time off. It's not the best thing to do immediately after being hired. What do you think?
Hiya, class. I'm your cool new teacher, not some scary guy with a secret evil agenda. Anyway, I'm just going to dive right in here. If there was one thing about this world that you could change, what would it be?
Not that bad of a question, actually. I did not think he would go there, especially after saying, he's definitely not some evil scientist. By the way, if you had one thing about the world you can change, what would it be? Sounds like a great writing prompt to me.
Memorize these elements.
Oxygen, beryllium,
Excuse me, everybody.
It's
There's
a
a
giant
giant.
Do not interrupt while I'm reading monotone from my textbook. What the toilet? Ugh, just go.
They thought they were asking for them to use the bathroom there. I love how they said, don't interrupt while I'm reading monotone from a textbook. Thankfully, in most places, that style of teaching is really faded away. You have textbooks in a lot of places are not really used anymore. Physical textbooks, most places have moved to some sort of either online curriculum or other resources other than physical textbooks to teach students. Some places just have maybe a class set of textbooks that are used for reference materials, but a lot of times they are not kind of the primary source materials of big, bulky physical textbook like you may have used in the past. So they're kind of poking fun at an older, a less effective style of teaching there. Yeah, so obviously I skipped a good part of the end of it. Most of the rest of the movie was just the two characters there, Harry and George, kind of just fighting these toilet monsters. But a great movie, surprisingly a lot to unpack there, especially for a kid's movie. I love the song here at the end. If you get a chance to see it, Weird Al Yankovic and the end theme. But I'm going to leave it right there. If you enjoyed this one, please check out my other videos. I've got a Napoleon Dynamite reaction video, Billy Madison, and also Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Also, if you're enjoying this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I look forward to seeing you next time on High School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching.